I've been dropped into this hardcore modded Minecraft world that is absolutely filled to the brim with new locations, animals, and plants I'd never seen before. If I die, I won't respawn and this entire world will be lost. Let's see how long we can actually make it. Day 1. I dropped into this lovely meadow filled with innocent animals peacefully walking to and fro. I took a deep breath, noticed a random raging forest fire behind me, and then waltzed right over to a nearby village. I quickly peeked into a ravine, was immediately shot, and decided to just grab some ores exposed near the surface. Day 2. I was off, looking for somewhere to stay. I didn't want to spend too much time looking, but I had a feeling that the right spot was just around the corner. And then I found it, this gorgeous area to make my home. I decided to build a lakeside house like the Hotel Adriano from Porco Rosso, so I set myself up on a very ugly raft and fell asleep to the gentle rocking of the lake waters. What was that? I'm sure it's nothing. We're totally fine. Day 3. I organized my stuff a little and set off to the shore to get more food and start gathering materials. I grabbed a bunch of meat and checked out the surrounding area to see what other cool structures and biomes I could find. I also blinked a little weird and some of the lighting took on this just odd hue, but no matter. Day 4 started off with gathering some exposed ores and then doing a tiny bit of caving. I was just grabbing a bit more iron and then I was shot by a skeleton and... Don't you dare. Oh my gosh. Died. Huh. Was that supposed to happen? Does anyone know what I do? Day 1, I woke up in a sweltering desert right next to a huge town. I said hi to my neighbors and found loads of supplies. After a cheeky desert temple looting, defiling ancient locations is so fun, I continued on my journey until I found another smaller town up on a mountain. I made friends with this camel, which I named Henry Crabapple V, and me and my new best bud found a basically finished ruined nether portal that I was quickly able to rebuild and get it working again. Day 2, just a little ways away from the village, we discovered this crescent-shaped green patch nestled in between the mountain range. I decided to stay there and settle in my own little oasis. I was admiring the scenery for 2 whole seconds, and somehow, Caspian Crabapple, codename Henry V of his line, just tore off into the desert and I never found him again. He probably took off his saddle and sold it for a few coins to barter his way back to his homeland where I found him. He's in search of his lost younger sister who was rumored to have been seen on these parts after his family was brutally killed by... Wait, hold on. This is supposed to be about me. Come on, let's just get back to the main plotline, please. Day 3, I took off for the mines. I was hoping to get a little more geared up so I'd be better protected from the sun and the heat and any monsters I encountered. Popping into a tall ravine, I was immediately set upon by the undead and murdered within seconds. That's okay. Everyone says don't go into ravines anyway, so let's just start again. Day 1, got in a boat, wandered forever, couldn't find anything, died. Day 1, I woke up in an empty valley, the trees above me whispering secrets and the flowers smelling of sleep. I wandered around looking for a village, met this squirrel. Oh, hey dude. I cut down his only tree, gave him a few nuts, but he rejected me, so I ran off to cry in the woods. Day 2, I found this village. Finally. I ran around looking for loot, didn't find much, but I did manage to steal this man's entire house, so I'm counting that as a success. Day 3, I explored the area and found these strange, corrupted trees ringing the edge of the water. Every time I got close, my computer would crash. There's something just beyond them that the game doesn't want me to see. I marked the current furthest tree to see if the infection spread and then continued exploring. Day 4, I returned to the scene of the crime and found the walnut tree had a few saplings left. So I quickly stuffed 3 baby trees into my pocket, because those definitely fit in there, and tried to run southwest. Over and over, my computer crashed. I could feel an ominous presence just past the meadow, but no matter what I did, I couldn't get past it. The boundaries of my world were becoming clear, so I decided to move in its opposite end to find shelter. Day 5, I explored more, gathering ores along my way and finding gorgeous biomes with really wicked views and even a rainbow. But the invisible wall that refused to let me pass continued to dog my every step. Okay, we got teleported back here, so I don't know if we can get up there that fast. We might have to try going around. Day 6, I began gathering iron and some other exposed ores in this cave wall, and ended the day as a pancake on the floor. Day 1, I gasped awake in a deep bamboo forest. As I walked towards the edge of the clearing, I found a massive crater. What happened? A huge meteor had crashed just a few paces away from where I'd woken up. The stones seemed to be made of an indestructible material, or at least it might as well have been considering my current tools. I grabbed a few exposed ores and put a chicken on my head before being shot in the spine and dying almost instantly. Day 1, I saw chickens, walked around for a bit, stepped into this water, but it was so cold my body froze, I couldn't move, and I blacked out. Day 1. This one looks a bit different. Weird. I found a cool tower, got deja vu while walking up a staircase full of infinity stones, and then imploded. Oh my gosh. It's about at this point I started wondering why I was doing this. I woke up and wandered through the woods until I heard water nearby. I found a massive beach and walked right up to the water's edge. I stood there, listening to the blowing winds and the crash of the waves. I stared out into the ocean and then closed the world, never to open it again. Day 1! I became a flying ranger for a day, finding loot, gathering magic, and then deciding that playing D&D by myself isn't super interesting, so I cast sleep on myself and woke up, on a spaceship? I don't know how this one happened, but I wandered around the empty desert, found a tree but couldn't get any dirt, was killed by a zombie, but didn't die somehow? I'm not sure, it might have been a dream, Day 1, I spawned and immediately zeroed in on a village, target locked. Ow. I robbed a well-known blacksmith in the area and took out the golem for a little snack. Then I went Betty Buys and got a fresh start in the morning. Day 2, I went north until I found a small yucca temple. Inside had a couple of dusty boys, so I told them they looked great and they disintegrated on the spot. Scored some quick horse armor, I'll be sure to use that, and then went to bed. Day 3, I explored more fauna, finding some great resources, and spent a restless night in a welcoming villager's home. Day 6, you may notice a few days are missing, but do not worry, I did not do anything interesting. I crashed in this random guy's swanky guest house, and when sneaking out to go to the loo, I got absolutely murdered in this creepy barley field. Okay, from here on out, it gets a bit better. Day 1, I woke up, bonked my head on this sign, and followed it to a village. I then stole literally everything and went to bed. Classic day for me. Nope. Day 2, I found a strawberry patch, which entertained me for an embarrassingly long time, and got some exposed ores, sort of. I saw a creeper, aw man. No. Okay, and before you know it, it's day 3. I pillared up to this floating island, but all I had was a single magical flower, so I decided to leave it there for now. I saw a weird skeleton. What? Had an elephant scare. I'm leaving. And a child with a gun. Ugh. A child. I went the wrong way no less than 3 times. Hello? Have I been here? Oh, guess I meant to walk that way. And got a little too close to a friend-shaped but not friend-behaved mama bear. Oh no. Day 4, found a village and some cool mushrooms. Day 5, I somehow ran out onto a beach and saw a whale. Whoa. I wandered around and found this awesome spot with the trees framing the landscape and decided to set up camp. Alrighty, I think this is where we're gonna build. Day 6, I chopped wood and a creeper blew up. Day 7, I chopped more wood and made an outline for my house. I wanted to work with the reds and the greens of the nearby area and decided to get some sandstone to act as a good base color to create my house with. I was digging happily away when this fully armored and armed gladiator showed up and murdered me in a sand pit. No! Day 1, I woke up in a new world with hummingbirds flitting around my head. I found a ruined portal and boated out till I found something a little bit sus. I boated more and passed an ocean monument. I found a gorgeous archipelago right as the sun was setting. It had tall islands and I decided to make it my home. I caught a couple of fish and then holed up for a bit while I struggled with some technical issues. Why can't I break anything? Oh! Eventually figuring out I had mining fatigue, which, duh. Then I looked around the island for a little bit. I saw this alien pulsing towards me and decided on a spot to make my build. I still desperately needed food, so I grabbed a couple more fish and then got lucky with a few wild carrots. I ate 2 of them and then planted the 3rd with the other few seeds I had stashed away in my pack. I then found a tiny little cave and decided to make my first temporary home. Cool, here's our house. It was cozy and pretty small, so I lit up the area to make sure nothing spawned on top of me and mined all the available ores in my little cave. Day 3, mantis shrimp in the front yard. A mantis shrimp. Food was still my highest priority, so I scouted the hills looking for other passive mobs. I couldn't find anything, though I did snipe several cod in this small section of water that turned out to be a river biome. I really wanted a bow, so I decided to brave some of the caves to see if I could humanely barter some string off of the neighborhood spiders. All I found was this creeper who met his untimely demise due to my insane toe-chopping skills. Day 4, I planted and replanted all of my remaining crops and built a staircase up to the side of the mountain. This doubled down as an easy way to get dirt, as well as a pathway up to my future construction site. Day 5, I began deforestation and finally got a bow! I then had an unexpected house guest. and made a little spruce farm out on the water to get some wood. I began building a massive physics-defying dirt platform up on the mountain, as well as some paths around the area. I also met this very nice shark. It's just a shark. I spent the majority of my morning on day 6 fighting for my life trying to rescue my last few precious arrows used to stop an underwater skeleton attack. Nope. Nope. Let me out. Oh my gosh. And after that I roleplayed as a weed whacker and zoned out chopping trees all day. We then had the first arrival of phantoms coming to haunt me. 7th, I am the soul of the world, the second helper, full of beggars. Sanctums are florets, not flowers. Miriam Radu Pun said to people who are drunk or injured, I sleep in Shannon, and you eat Ami. It is not good. I will call again. I ran this day through Google Translate a whole bunch of times, so hopefully you could still understand that. I spent the entirety of day 8 on an elaborate chicken heist, and was ultimately successful. After that, I just did chores and dealt with phantoms through the night. I also tried this mechanic to get rid of the phantoms by getting into a bed for just long enough of the night to qualify as sleeping, but not long enough to actually skip the day. Apparently, the phantoms were intimidated by my ability to sleep but determination not to, because they stuck around the area but stopped bothering me. After that, it was back to chopping trees and appreciating the sunrise. Day 9 was more tree chopping. I did a few more chores and finished up this little mountain pass thing with fence posts to keep me from being knocked off just in case. I also got another egg for my chicken, but nothing came of it. Day 10 and 11 were spent gathering and corralling villagers for an iron farm. You dirty boy. Get back in there. Go. Okay. My foot slipped and I fell down into this crevice, but I managed to pull myself out again. Ow. I then had a slight accident where I was expanding the dirt platform for my build. Is this even worth anything? One stupid mistake and everything I do is erased. It's like I'm living the same day over and over again. It just never ends. Day 1, I gasped awake once more, robbed a man's house, and found this quick little inlet to start setting up camp. I made a classic chicken hole and then quickly chopped some trees and built a survive the first night monstrosity. After mining for about 2.2 seconds, I got lonely and decided to make a secret BFF tunnel to my chickens. The morning of day 2 was spent arguing with the skeleton. Then I planted all the seeds and set up a tiny cactus farm that night. Day 3, I explored, made my way back home, and started mining again. Day 4. Day 5 was a big exploration day. While I was out adventuring, I found these same purple trees as before. They looked a little different from the last time I'd seen them, but here they were nonetheless. Once more, it was difficult to move past or get around them. I kept blacking out and waking up a few moments in the past. Wait, I didn't die. How am I here? I boated around for the whole day and saw this holy squid. Wait, what? But it was hard convincing myself to keep paddling. Finally, the Finding Nemo jokes got their revenge, and the seagull stole my food. He just stole my food. Day 3, I found some moonstone. Ooh, moonstone. Okay, this is good stuff. Okay, remember this for later.
Who are you talking to right now?
I just wandered for days, desperately searching for any kind of life, hoping to run into another person. I found plenty of abandoned locations, their food still sitting on the table with nobody home. Exhausted from searching, I collapsed in the rain against the roots of this magnificent tree, ready to give up. With one last effort, I checked my map, and there, in the far corner, was a village. I struggled to my feet and headed to the water, but I had abandoned my boat earlier in my despair. I began to run on foot, hoping to make it, but just as I was about to clear the forest's edge, I was shot. What am I doing? I keep waking up, trying to remember something, and I don't even know where I'm going. I just want to go back to that one world where it felt like I was productive and I was making progress. Why even do all this? It's not as if I'm making anything special or unique. Hundreds of people make and quit Minecraft worlds every single day. What's so special about when I do it? Day 1. I woke up once more in a forest. A quick scout of the nearby area rewarded me with real people. It was a sparse village, but it had people at last. I cautiously entered their home and saved some children from this undead monster. Well, tried to save. This other kid showed up and I bounced. I then controlled a forest fire, had the biggest creeper scare of my life. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna stay in here. I'm just gonna stay in here now. And then died to a zombie outside my front door. No! Day 1, I boated around until I found this village and immediately slept. Day 2, bred ducks, not bred ducks. Yay! Oh. And saw a frog. Friend! Hi! I set up camp and dug for ores, finally locating a good spot for my build. Day 3, I fed 2 birds with 1 scone by gathering wood as well as clearing the area for my new house. Then I died in a 1-block lava hole and cried. No. Okay. I didn't realize we were playing Skyblock now, but okay. What? I boated along until I found land and... yeah. Day 1, I am doing this one. I once again boated until I found the perfect spot. Probably. I then spent time gathering seeds and materials, and thus it begins. On to day 3. Nothing really felt different, but I am going to make it different. I was then immediately robbed by a raccoon and my computer glitched out. What I've realized after all of these deaths, and resetting day in, day out, is that I haven't actually been trying. I hadn't even convinced myself I'd survive longer than a week, so why try? But I've been learning and coming back stronger, and it is time to do this. Day 4, I created this garden, and day 5, I added paths around the area. I then went mining for 4 days straight and was ambushed when I returned. No. Pinned down by enemy fire, I was overwhelmed, and I lost it all. I don't know if I can keep doing this. No, I'm taking something from each death. Each loss teaches me something new. This time, I had the supplies to make the armor, but I didn't. It's a massive priority. First thing, you make the armor and the shield the second you can. Day 1, I rammed a fish with my boat and saw dragons? By day 4, I had set up another little farm by a pool of water for food and resources. Day 5 was mining, day 6 was more mining, plus a little cave-in, and that leads us to day 7. A bunch of raiders showed up on my doorstep, but I don't have a doormat and they didn't ring the doorbell, so I walked over to the nearby village to set up Huion H610's first day iron farm. What this means for me is less cave crawling, since it's pretty clear I'm not very cut out for it. Although, I did build this cute mining entrance in the hopes of convincing myself to enjoy going down there. When my building plans were interrupted by the eventual nightfall, I decided to take the opportunity to nab a zombie. Unfortunately, this meant that I couldn't actually sleep, so I just waited around and did nothing and mined a bit. On day 8, I officially began building the iron farm. Well, that's handy. Day 16, I finally finished my iron farm. And the golems were actually spawning, just not spawning in the place I needed them to. I mean, that works. I worked around them for a little bit doing some troubleshooting, and eventually got them falling into the correct pit. It was all working perfectly. Then, in a mindless moment, I just hit the iron golem to finish him off, but turns out I was very much in range and he was very much not dead yet. I then reset everything once again, setting up food, the spruce village, the little wood hut near the lake, but when moving a couple of villagers, another ironclad zombie came out of nowhere and two-tapped me. Skipping forward a bit here. Day 1, I hit up a ravine, always a good idea, for a ton of iron and took off in a boat. The next few days were spent boating around to various places, spending the nights in various caves with various companions. Although I was witness to the crime of a flying squid with a whale eating him, I think. I then AFK'd in a hole eating raisins in real life because I just can't right now. By day 10, I actually had kind of a settlement going. I was setting up my iron farm and was actually physically shaking trying to get the zombie into the hole. Oh, I'm shaking. Day 11 was spent adding the villagers in, and on day 16 again, I finally had a working iron farm. Now my world is filled with the sweet sound of suffocation. I also filled up this bucket with lava, very carefully mind you, that stuff really tends to spill in the pockets. And I got a waystone to use for my home. Speaking of home, I'd set up my own little camp in the forest here. There wasn't really a handy nearby pond, which is fine because I keep dying in them anyways, so I did a bunch of terraforming and made my own crop area. Whoa, where are we? I just sat down like 2 seconds ago, and now we're all the way across the world. How does that even happen? Whoa! Apparently, I found enough diamonds for a chest plate and trousers. While I'm out here, I'm just gonna grab a bunch of saplings to use for decorative wood. Days 36 through 38 were spent gathering wood to help me panel the surroundings of my house. Thanks to my incredibly productive blackout, I had already laid a lot of the stonework and built some of the frame. I then tried to do some transmutation, but lost more than my mind, so I looked around for some other options to get my mother back. Get green dye to use for my builds. On day 39, I cautiously ventured out to get some cactus for green dye and kelp for smelting. I also happened upon this crystal cavern, which was super cool. Day 40, I got whomped by this willow. And by day 41, I basically had everything I needed. I was, however, far enough away that it'd be faster to try to find a village with a waystone than to walk back. After returning from my mysterious escapades, I decided to grow all the wood types to see what they'd look like. I then began creating my house outline, as well as making myself a big old storage room. Day 42 started with a close creeper call, and I dropped a half a heart courtesy of this invisible witch. Oh my gosh, if this kills me. I then spent the rest of day 42 and all of day 43 loading everything into my new storage room. Day 44 was chores and cleaning up the storage room, and day 45 I got a little cactus farm going. Day 46 I began working on this little garden house right next to me. I used the willow bark for this really lovely soft green color and a mostly spruce roof with some dark oak mixed in for depth. On day 47 I finished up most of the house, adding in a few details to the inside, including a little soup station, benches to take your shoes off, and a couple other cute details. Day 48 and 49 were harvesting crops and putting together all the finishing touches. Day 50, we are finally halfway. I chopped trees and started on the inside of my actual house. Then I went to AFK at my iron farm while I ate lunch. I returned after a triumphant meal of peanut butter on rice cakes and put in my floorboards on day 53. Day 54 was building the downstairs up a bit, and then I started this weird kelp farm thing. Honestly, I don't know what I was going for or where it was supposed to go. It definitely kind of works. Days 55 and 56 were more house building. I was actually having a good time trying to do fun things with the roof. And then, on day 57, the wandering trader showed up. Unfortunately, he didn't have my camel from World 2, so I left him outside to fend off the giant beetles that keep murdering people in my woods. I spent the rest of the day up in the rafters, attempting to grasp the concept of symmetry, as well as adding lanterns all over the place. Day 58, it was finally time to go get sand for my windows. I geared up and headed out. Gathering sand was a nerve-wracking activity, if you'll recall the previous gladiator duels that I've fought, but I'd fully filled my pockets by day 59 and pulled several fistfuls of kelp before warping back to my house. Day 60, I was back home decorating, and day 61, I tried to build this window bay thing, but it definitely ended up looking a little bit bloated and kind of odd. Also on this day, my achievements reset, so don't yell at me, I don't know what happened either. Day 62 and 3, I fiddled about on my roof until I felt satisfied, and began working on the interior. I basically just said, what's green around here, and I put that in. I actually feel pretty dang proud of how compact the space is, and how much detail I was able to chuck in there. I know I'm not an experienced builder by any means, but I feel like it's a solid little hut, you know? I kind of just moseyed around and decorated for the rest of my week, doing chores and adding a couple of new details around the area, including this cute loft bed. After finishing my house, I wasn't sure exactly what to do next, but I decided on day 68 to get a full enchanting setup. Since my current floor plan is pretty tight, I decided to set up a chicken library and set up bookshelves with my little hen pit. I mean condo. I'd never ever put my chicks in a pit. I'm not a mom. Honestly, I was wholly confused by enchanting setups for a while, since I normally just break into my neighbor's house and use theirs.
What are you doing?
Unfortunately, that definitely isn't an option here. I pretty pretty much just made soup and mined some gravel for arrows, then went to sleep. Nothing crazy happened. Day 70, I woke up with my new customary smack into the head and got on about my day. I hopped over to the iron farm and then vaulted down this very unsteady pit to go mining. With my newly broken ankles, I was not getting very lucky with ores, especially considering the last time this happened, I just woke up with half a suit of armor and diamond tools. I was trying to get enough diamonds for a new pickaxe so I could get a level 30 enchantment on it. Unfortunately, my pickaxe didn't last and I had to switch to iron, but I was getting mad levels. Day 72. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it's a mimic. Oh my gosh. Okay, bye. The heart attack I just had. Okay. Mimic! I had this jolly encounter and actually had to pause my game to calm my heart rate down. Then it was back to mining and some iron farm AFK. I explored for a few more days, meeting new animals and traveling around my world. I was working towards 30 levels for my pick enchant, and the next plan I had was to get to the Nether. Although, I did start hearing voices of creatures that weren't there. I'd hear creepers and ghasts talking to me in whispered tones. It was getting clear my nerves were fraying. What is going on? Am I going insane? I brushed it off as best I could. It's possible the rampage I went on while desperate for levels had angered someone or something I hadn't expected, and now they were sending me hallucinations to replicate the fear I had sown in so many others. Or possibly I couldn't tell what was real anymore. You know it's a dark day when I willingly kill the little beetle boys. On day 76, I found this little dungeon area and carefully cleared the whole place, recovering several tomes and magical items. Is that more hallucinations? Nope, it's just the little dinosaur that lives in my house being a silly little tax evader. Day 78, I was back up on the surface and ready for enchanting. I got Unbreaking 3 and Efficiency 4 on my pick, and another enchant that doesn't super help me, but I guess it's comforting to have. I also enchanted the rest of my armor to the glorious sound of chicken hitboxes crashing into each other continuously. Day 79, I finally built my nether portal and stepped foot inside. I emerged out of the portal in a basalt delta. I immediately began building barricades and protective walls to keep myself safe. I was also absolutely enamored with the map. The generation looked so insane, all zoomed out and full of lava. I carefully scaled the wall to get a better look around and hopefully spot, or at least move towards, another fortress or bastion on my map. No, not like this, 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 not like this. No! Oh my gosh. Well, at least my pants stayed with me. So here I was, wandering an empty universe, unable to visit places I hadn't seen in life. A ghost. Is that really all I was meant to be? A short life full of caution and fear, but also beauty and fun? With, at the end of it all, an ending? After all, aren't Minecraft worlds supposed to end? Aren't worlds supposed to end? Rather than peter out into oblivion, they can peacefully resign and we can remember the fond times and the things that we built. I didn't make it to 100 days, but when you put together all the time that I spent learning and growing, it amounts to something important. And I can't wait to start again.